Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with another match with Playing on a Budget with the Crypt combo. Yes, I'd like to play first. This is a very fine hand. We've got the Crypt Incursion and two Nighthowlers. Or no, two Nighthowlers and then a Jarad Golgari Lich Lord. No, I'm not going to mulligan. This is going to be a very aggressive hand depending on what I draw into. We have the first turn Golgari Guildgate, which is nice, as that is the only time you want to gate, is when you don't mind it being tapped. Alrighty, so we will go ahead and just play that. And up against a Stomping Ground, which is good news because I usually like going up against creature-based decks. Tomb can come into play tapped. We have our combo now with Crypt Incursion and Sanguine Bond. Now we just have to draw into our mill cards. So Mutavault. So see if a Carotid comes out. It does indeed. So it's going to be monsters. Played this matchup a million times. Not with this particular deck, but anywho. We'll Lotleth Troll here, and we have regeneration mana up. And at this point, I believe I just start ditching the Golgari, the Jarads, the Nighthowlers. Maybe one Nighthowler. And a Jarad for sure. So 3 mana for probably, yep, a Corsair. And Elvish Mystic on top. So he's going to just play a land from his hand. Yep. And then possibly even cast another Mystic or something. Nope. So let's get rid of this stupid thing. Put this up in the corner. And hopefully we draw into a land here. That would be ideal. A Sanguine Bond number 2 is definitely not the route we want to go. I'm going to attack him with a Lotleth Troll. And I'm actually thinking about putting Corsair of Kruphix in this deck. I think it actually would do very well. Even though it doesn't help out any sort of graveyard strategy. Any sort of land, it does gain life. And this deck does need to stabilize. And he does decide to block. That is interesting. He doesn't care about that. So we'll discard a Lich Lord and a Nighthowler to kill that off. And our Troll survives. Definitely worth the trade. And next turn, if we get another land, we can always 5 mana. So Stormbreath's coming out. So we have to race a Stormbreath, which is definitely feasible, especially if we draw into a land next turn. We can bestow a Nighthowler on a... Okay, does not end up happening that way, but we can definitely Satyr Wayfinder here and hopefully find more stuff in the graveyard and try to set up a good Nighthowler next turn. So I do believe, yeah, we swing in, but not with the Nighthowler. As he's down to a 17. And if we can somehow survive another turn, we'll be golden. And if we draw a land, cast a Sanguine Bond, swing in. But the thing is with the monsters deck is they have a lot of degenerate ways to do a ton of damage through Goreclan Rampagers and also with Xenagos. So if Xenagos comes out here, we might have to just bite the bullet and Crypt Incursion to get rid of our creatures in our graveyard, which will gain us 9 life. No, it'll gain us 12 life at this moment. All right, that's cool. He's going to Mutavault. And I get a block with the Satyr Wayfinder. And he's probably going to Goreclan Rampager it. No, he does not. So I'm down to 12. He's still at 2 mana. Another Elvish Mystic. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got to do the math next turn to see if he can just wipe me out. Crypt Incursion, an extra Crypt Incursion allows me to actually use it versus him. But, so if he Monstrosities, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he can Monstrosity next turn, which will do 5 damage to me and bring it up to a 7/7. It'll do 4 damage if I Nighthowler here. If he decides to go another round, just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, he can attack for 8 next turn just by swinging it with Mutavault, Elvish Mystic, 8, and then if he's got a Gore Clan, then I pretty much die. So I really want to bestow this Nighthowler, but I kind of want to keep up the Crypt Incursion. And actually, all he'd have to do is drop a land and he could attack in with an Elvish Mystic. So I think I'm going to have to use Crypt Incursion defensively, probably just to exile his card out of his graveyard. So I'm definitely going to attack in with Lotleth Troll. Put him down to a 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, because the Nighthowler would have just made my guy a 10. And yeah, I think that's the right way to go. So Mutavault. He's attacking with everything. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm sure he's going to Gore Clan or Rampager here. Which is pretty awesome because that would... So I'm going to Crypt Incursion him to gain 6 life. But I'm still not out of this. Go back up to an 18, and I still have to draw nicely. Or else I'm dead next turn as well. So Treasure Find does absolutely nothing. As now I have to discard a Nighthowler rather than bestow it on. Like if I had another Nighthowler here, that would actually be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could get up to 11 damage. But this at least gets him down to an 8. Oh, he's going to block with a Sylvan Caryatid. Okay. Gets him down to an 11. Now he's not going to be able to bestow either. And it gives me another option to Crypt Incursion him, depending on... yeah, how I want to do this. Alright, so he's tagging it with everything. That means I have to Crypt Incursion myself, go up to a 24, but then I go down to an 18. And I'm still not out of this. Most likely next turn I'm treasure finding my own Crypt Incursion. See, he's got double Mizzium Mortars. That's the only reason he'd do that, right? Which is ballsy, because if I had another card in my hand, I could always... just discard it. But at this point, he's got to go for it. He's got to try to Mizzium Mortars the Lotleth Troll and take it out. Otherwise, he is on still on a 3-turn clock unless I were to draw into a card. Then he's on a 2-turn clock. I get the forest. This is interesting, as I can now cast the Sanguine Bond. This gets him down to a 6. But if he draws into another Mizzium, I think I have to go for it at this point, because the Treasure Find allows me to get back a Crypt Incursion that there's tons of things I can draw into. Now at this point I think he can't just monstrous it. He needs to just play like a card. He needs to play just a big creature. But I'm putting him in pretty bad situation here. Blood, which kills out the Lotleth Troll, but again, I can still draw into another card. And 3, what can he do for 3? Domri? Yes, it is Domri. Which is going to look at the top of his library. And this is depending if I think I can survive another turn, which I don't think I can. Whether I just cast another Sanguine Bond. So let's hope for a good top deck here. Which is the Varolz, which is interesting. This goes up to a 7 and does 2 damage to me, because he'll fight. Yeah, I have to Varolz. Now I could scavenge onto Varolz. No, I definitely wouldn't want to do that. We're just going to treasure find the Crypt Incursion. And now he's got to kill me this next turn, which is quite possible. So he did draw land, so he needs to try to find something with Domri here. And I'm still not out of this yet. If I top deck into a land, I need to top deck into a creature that I can sacrifice to regenerate Varolz. Or I need to scavenge the Lotleth Troll onto Varolz' attack. And hopefully he doesn't have any sort of removal for it. So he is going to look. And he does not find anything. Which is Sylvan Caryatid. Yep, this is not going to do it. This should be my game. And I'll explain why. No, he can block with a Mutavault. Mutavault's the only thing he can block with. But double Crypt Incursion does it. Because I can exile my graveyard and I can exile his graveyard. So oh, I don't have the mana for it. So maybe we do keep it up. Maybe I do scavenge and Lotleth Troll and attack. No, I just end a turn. Kill his graveyard. Interesting game. Because he's got to try to kill me here. Which I don't think he can. Because if he fights Varolz, he dies. Don't find a Goreclan or Rampager. Well, Goreclan or Rampager wouldn't do anything anyway either. Okay, so he's going to Monstrosity 3 this. And I'm going to exile his graveyard. which puts it up to a 7, which does not do enough. And maybe I should have done that in his attack phase, but I really don't think this is going to change anything here. Because he's got to do 9. He's already plus the Domri, so that was his mistake. He shouldn't have plus the Domri. He should have used it to attack. No, he couldn't, because then if he used it to attack... Yeah, so I go down to a 2. And then all I have to do is upkeep and Crypt Incursion myself. For the win. Perfect 3. Alrighty, so that was a nail-biter of a game. I think against his deck, I do need a Putrefy and the Deadly Recluses. And I'm thinking Brindle Boars are actually good in this. Ultimate Prices are good in this as well. And even Shadowborn Demon. So I'm bringing in cards that I don't think are good. I really don't think Pack Rat's good versus him. Nemesis of Mortals takes care of that. And Wasteland Viper's fine. Satyr Wayfinder of mine. So maybe Nemesis of Mortals. Or I think it's these Varolz. Varolz and... Definitely Varolz. So I'm going to take out a Jarad. And then I'm going to take out 3 Nemesis of Mortals. We'll keep 1 in. Or maybe they're better. Maybe... Well, he's a creature-based deck. So Nighthowlers... Nah, Nemesis of Mortals are better than Nighthowlers in this instant. Alright, so we're gonna submit that. Should do quite well against his deck. Unfortunately for us, I believe this is a mulligan. And this is a much better hand. See if he's got the God Draw. So far he does. How come every game they got a first turn Elvish Mystic? Let's see here. There's a Brindle Boar. That will help us out. So hopefully no Domri. No Domri, but it's going to be Prophet. Nope, just Sylvan Carotid. And he's going to swing in for 1. Definitely okay with that. So key if we hit a land here on our Satyr. We don't. That's how we roll sometimes. So there's his red source. He can actually cast Domri with the Satyr anyway. And next turn it will be tempting just to treasure find for a Satyr or a Commune. I think at this point I need a Satyr. Did I just see that right? Did he really just Nemesis of Mortals a Satyr Wayfinder? You got to be joking, right? In this case, I still think it's the right play just to treasure find a Satyr Wayfinder. Because we need to get up for the Shadowborn Demon to kill off whatever degenerate card's going to come out this turn. Which is probably a Stormbreath Dragon. Or a Polukranos. Just a Polukranos. So that's good because the Satyr can actually, or the Brindle Boar, either one, depends on if I draw a land here or not. Sanguine Bond, that's definitely a great card we draw into the combo. Satyr here is going to force me to use the mana on Polukranos to actually fight. And the following turn we can actually Shadowborn Demon. Or we can not hit a land twice with our Satyr Wayfinder. So now we need to top into a land. I have a couple of turns to get us there, though. A little bit unlucky with that, with the misses. But it is what it is. Tapping 3. I don't even know it costs 4 mana. Okay, for a Xenagos. And he's probably going to add mana to fight the Polukranos against the Satyr Wayfinder. So we can get in there for 6. So this is key that we draw into a land here to kill the Polukranos. and which we do not hit. Frustrating at this point. Xenagos. So he's going to give his Satyr +2/+0 probably. But the Brindle Boar will completely negate that. As we have to block here. And then sack to gain 4 life. So once again, I might just need to go up in more lands. I thought the Satyr Wayfinders would definitely find some, but the misses are huge, and we miss again. Which, at this point, we're going to have to use a defensive Crypt Incursion, which is the last thing in the world I want to use. And see if we miss a triple time. We do not. We grab the swamp. But Xenagos is active. I don't know if I can even come out of this. Six, 7, 8. A Gorklan Rampager, of course, here. Puts up to 31, but I mean, that's just a laughing stock because he can just kill me next turn. Anyway. So, we do Shadowborn Demon here. But again, this is just so far behind. And he probably has another Polukranos in hand anyway. But we'll get to go. Hopefully, yeah, this match is probably out of our reach. I don't see anything we can do to actually come back from this. Best case scenario is I draw a land. And at least I get to pop off the token. That's a 4. Gotta sack my demon. There's my land. And at this point, I think I do have to go Sanguine Bond. Shock myself. And Deathrite Shaman. But he's got 3 cards in hand, and we haven't seen any of them. I have no clue what they are. Getting the Crypt Incursion, at least the cards back in the graveyard. And Deathrite Shaman is going to help with a little bit of the beating. Especially if I get out another. I mean, I wonder if I just absorb damage here. I mean, he could have double Gorklan Rampager, so it wouldn't matter anyway. But I mean, next turn I can't even think of anything I can draw out. Which, what did he just do there? Oh, he just did flesh and blood. And that's going to be 6 damage no matter how I block. Yep, that can do it. Alright, so we'll concede this. And geez, it's tempting just to try to out-pack rat him. I'm thinking out-pack rat might work. It's just, I don't like, with pack rats, a lot of times without the Mutavaults and the Underworld connections, they just don't seem nearly strong enough. So maybe I need to bring in the big bruisers versus him, so Nemesis of Mortals and Jarad's back in. And maybe cards like Lotleth Troll. No, Lotleth Trolls are great, but Wasteland Vipers are great too. And I still think ultimate prices are fine. But am I going to win by killing his stuff? And I don't think so. So Putrefy's ultimate prices are going to come out. And even this Shadowborn Demon is going to come out. No, we want the Shadowborn Demon. But if that's the case, I want one of Varolz. And I'm going to take 2 Lotleth Trolls out. Even though I think Lotleth Trolls are great. I think this is the route I'm going to try. So yes, I'd like to play first. This is fine hand. No, I'd not like to mulligan. I will shock myself first turn for a Wasteland Viper. I think it's definitely worth it. And we're going to try to go as aggressively as possible. See if he's got the first turn elf again. These monster decks are really good with that first turn elf. Land would be ideal. A Satyr Wayfinder actually would be ideal, and then find a land. There's a Golgari Guildgate. Again, it's just going to be... That is actually tempting. Instead of the Lotleth Troll, go the Guildgate, because then we can actually regenerate the Lotleth Troll. And once again, getting that opponent down to 18 is huge. See if Caryatid comes out here. Caryatid cannot block a Wasteland Viper. Neither can an Elvish Mystic. There's another land. So we're hitting our land drops, which is awesome. And maybe Lotleth Troll will get us there. Because at this point, maybe Brindle Boar is just better as a counter on Lotleth Troll. And Nighthowler. So we could have a huge regenerating Lotleth Troll that I don't know if he can deal with. So he puts out a 2/2. Yeah, I don't think that Xenagos is actually going to live here. Good news for us. Definitely go both at Xenagos. I think he's going to block the Wasteland Viper. Which he does do that. That's surprising. So this makes... I only have to discard Brindle Boar at this point. And hit him for 3. And we'll keep the regen mana up. And hopefully the Lotleth Troll aggro can get us, definitely get us there. Domri. I'm going to definitely kill off Domri as well. Hits a Stormbreath Dragon. That's going to be a little bit of a clock. But I think it's still good. To kill off Domri here. So now with Satyr Wayfinder, and hopefully this finds us a land. It does indeed find us a land, and a Nemesis of Mortals, Deathrite Shaman. We play this, and now we have... He's going to cast a Stormbreath Dragon, but we're going to be able to kill it with the demon. So Stormbreath's only going to do 4 to us. And that is definitely okay. And we'll actually be able to get in with an attack with the demon. So this match is definitely good for us. It's ours to lose. And if we can draw into a Crypt Incursion, it won't be half bad. So we're down to a 14. And there's regen mana as well for the Lotleth Troll. She's down to a 13. Pretty decent draw on his part too. He might be a little land flooded, but the mana to cast a Storm Breath, a pretty quick Xenagos, pretty quick Domri as well. Corsair's going to be annoying, and it finds him a land off the top every time. But at this point, I don't know if he's going to be able to stop a Nighthowler Lotleth Troll. So Satyr Wayfinder dies here. He's got 3 mana, nothing instant speed in monsters that can really deal with the Nighthowler. I'm not going to cast a Satyr Wayfinder, or do I? Now we're just going to bestow onto the Lotleth Troll. And it's an 11/11. And I think this is game. Because that is trample. And this has got a plummet. Which he doesn't. He's got to Unravel the Aether. Okay. But he still loses his Corsair and goes down to an 8. But I lose my Demon the next turn. So that was a great play on his part. Because he's still fine with a Polukranos. He draws a Domri, we know that much. Still 4 cards in hand to our... Yeah, Shadowborn dies next turn. So best thing we can actually draw into is like a Nighthowler. No Jarad in the bin either. Jarad will be great to draw into. His best line of play is probably... If he's got even like a Stormbreath Dragon, just cast a Storm Breath and a if he's got a land, he can cast a Domri. Arbor Claws would be good too. Yep, a Storm Breath. And he does not attack. Yeah, so... We do have the cards in the graveyard now. I forgot about how that works. That's awesome with the Shadowborn Demon. Because he's got a block. Unless he's got a plummet. Which he does not. Down to a 4, and we are definitely in the driver's seat. Which, yeah. There we go. So, we win that out just as an aggro strategy with kind of this dredge strategy, which I think is actually really good, and I might have to look at that angle. And in fact, something actually might come out of this deck besides even going the Sanguine Bond, Crypt Incursion, combo. I mean, we might want to just cut down to one of each of those, and then you go kind of this dredge strategy. Anyway, this has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.